me ask you some specific issues that concern the people of the United States. As you know, many U.S. experts say that the evidence is overwhelming, that elements of the Iranian authorities, Iranian officials, provide not only political and moral, but also financial support to organizations that commit acts of terrorism and result in the deaths of innocent women and children. If you were presented with proof and with evidence that any kind of Iranian was involved in that kind of financial support or act, what would you do about it?
You see, this is another example of the sort of problem that exists between us and the United States. They first level unfair and unsubstantiated accusations against you, and when they propose to hold talks, they say that they want to have a dialogue with us about these very unfounded accusations. They are in fact trying to put the other side on trial. Well, let me tell you this. We believe in the Holy Quran that says slaying of one innocent person is tantamount to the slaying of all humanity. How could such a religion and those who claim to be its followers get involved in the assassinations of innocent individuals and slaughtering innocent human beings? We categorically reject all these allegations. Secondly, the logic of history has proved that violence is not the way to achieve any desired end. I personally believe that only those who lack logic resort to violence. Terrorism should be condemned in all its forms and manifestations. Assassins must be condemned. Terrorism is useless anyway, and we condemn it categorically. Those who level these charges against us are best advised to provide accurate and objective evidence, which indeed does not exist.
If you were provided with the proof that an Iranian official had used any kind of Iranian funds to reward or finance any group or individual that was involved in an act of terrorism, would you punish that person or that organization?
If I learn of any instance of such assistance to terrorism, I shall certainly deal with it. So will our leader, and so will our entire system. At the same time, supporting peoples who fight for the liberation of their land is not, in my opinion, supporting terrorism. It is, in fact, supporting those who are engaged in combating state terrorism.
Regardless of the motive, do you believe that killing innocent women and children is terrorism, as, for instance, what happens on the streets of Israel?
It is definitely so. Any form of killing of innocent men and women who are not involved in confrontations to terrorism, it must be condemned, and we, in our turn, condemn every form of it in the world.
The Americans say that they have reports that Iranian officials abroad regularly engage in acts of surveillance against Americans. The sort of surveillance that could be interpreted as preceding an attack. Do you think that that's appropriate?
I deny this categorically. On our part, there has been no new move, no special measures with regard to the United States in external field. This is another false rumor spread by those who bear a grudge against us.
Iran has said that it doesn't agree with the Middle East peace process. Yasser Arafat was elected as a representative of the Palestinian people. He has rejected the armed struggle as a means of pursuing his legitimate aims, and he has entered into a peace process. Do you think it is appropriate for any foreign power to engage in supporting the groups that are fighting against Yasser Arafat, the Palestinian groups such as Hamas and others?
First of all, we have declared our opposition to the Middle East peace process because we believe it will not succeed. At the same time, we have clearly said that we don't intend to impose our views on others or to stand in their way. In our view, all Palestinians have the right to express their views about their land, including the millions of Palestinians in diaspora. They too have a right to self-determination. Only then can there be a lasting peace. We seek a peace through which Jews, Muslims, and Christians, and indeed each and every Palestinian, could freely determine their own destiny. And we are prepared to contribute towards the realization of that peace. But let me elaborate a little for the American people on my views about the United States Middle East policy. Anti-Semitism is indeed a Western phenomenon. It has no precedence in Islam or in the East. Jews and Muslims have lived harmoniously together for centuries. In the East, we have had despotism and dictatorship, but never had fascism or Nazism. These two are also Western phenomena, and the West has paid dearly to combat them. What concerns me is that, first, this Western anti-Semitism has turned into a tool for the imposition of a whole range of improper policies and practices on the people of the Middle East and Muslims in general. Secondly, I am concerned that this Western dilemma may be projected elsewhere. This is as fascism and Nazism are suppressed in the West. They may resurface in another form in Western policies elsewhere. Obviously, Washington is the United States capital where policy decisions on United States national interests must be made. However, the impression of the people of the Middle East and Muslims in general is that certain foreign policy decisions of the United States are, in fact, made in Tel Aviv and not in Washington. And I regret to say that the improper American policy of unbridled support for the aggression of a racist, terrorist regime does not serve United States interests, nor does it even serve those of the Jewish people. Zionists constitute a small portion of the Jewish people and have openly declared and proven in practice that they are expansionists. The Israeli intransigence in the course of the current peace process and its failure to honor its own undertakings has enraged even United States allies in the region. In my view, peace can come to the Middle East when all Palestinians, Jews and Muslims alike, can determine the future of the land. That should include those living in Palestine as well as those refugees living elsewhere. Only then can a stable and lasting peace be established. Many in the world might share our view, and many may differ with us. We simply present our opinion and have the greatest respect for all Palestinians who are concerned about the future of Palestine. Meanwhile, we believe that the United States should not risk the substantial prestige and credibility of the American people on supporting a racist regime which does not even have the backing of the Jewish people. The subject of the Middle East peace is one that needs a sober and pragmatic analysis. We believe that it will not succeed because it is not just and it does not address the rights of all parties in an equitable manner. We are prepared to contribute to an international effort to bring about a just and lasting peace in the Middle East.